Two employees working for a money transfer company are transporting $6 million in an armored vehicle. Suddenly, a group of workers blocks the road, but they are actually an armed gang planning to steal the money. They break into the vehicle, throw a flash bomb, and force the two employees out after they lose their balance. The gang steals the money and kills both employees. Later, a man named Patrick applies for a job at the same company. The manager informs him that two workers were recently killed during a robbery and warns that the job is very dangerous. However, Patrick is confident, as he has prior experience working with security companies. The manager of the company agrees to employ Patrick in the company and then asks him to meet a person named Bullet, who is the person who will be responsible for training Patrick. Bullet tells Patrick that he will call him H and that he must pass 70% of the tests to be accepted for the job. The tests are multiple and include physical fitness, driving, and shooting tests. Patrick gets 70% on the exams, and it seems that Patrick deliberately got this score. Patrick is accepted into the job, and Bullet takes Patrick in and introduces him to the rest of the team. Among them was a guy named Dave who was trying to bully Patrick because he was new to the business. But Patrick embarrasses Dave in front of his colleagues. Bullet takes Patrick to give him the gun. Patrick then goes out on his first assignment, and the assignment is with Dave because Dave's partner got fired. Dave was angry because his partner in the mission would be Patrick. Dave asks Patrick not to talk to him until they complete their mission. If you made it this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Patrick goes on the mission with Dave, and Bullet is with them, and he is with them to introduce Patrick to the nature of their work. They receive a large amount of money, put it in the car, and return to the company's headquarters safely. Bullet tells Patrick that their first day of work is over and asks him to come with them to play billiards and to celebrate. Patrick agrees, but suspiciously, Patrick stands in front of the employees' permits and takes a photo of them. At night, Patrick goes to play with the rest of the team, and there was John, who was Dave's former business partner. John's friends turn him against Patrick, telling him he has taken his place at work. John then goes and tries to provoke Patrick, but Patrick ignores him quietly. Patrick puts some money in Jay's pocket and asks him to go and have a drink away from him. John gets angry and goes. On the second day, Patrick and Dave are on a mission and they receive $2 million. Bullet is alone out and receives $10,000, but Bullet is running late. And then Patrick and Dave overhear over the radio that a gang has taken Bullet hostage. One of the gang members asks them to move to a specific place or they will kill Bullet. Dave is terrified and tells Patrick that they should go back to the company. But Patrick tells Dave to calm down, and Dave tells him he won't come back without Bullet. They go to the place specified by the gang, and the gang members threaten them that they will kill Bullet if they do not give them the money they have. Patrick opens the car door and throws the money into the gang's car, but Patrick deliberately throws one of the bags on the ground. One of the gang members is trying to get the bag that Patrick dropped, but Patrick kills him and the gang members shoot Patrick, but Patrick manages to kill them, except for one person who tried to escape, but Patrick hit him with a bullet. Patrick asks this person with which party he works, but this person refuses to speak, so Patrick kills him. Dave and Bullet were amazed at what Patrick had done. When they returned to the company, there was an investigation into the process. There were investigators asking Patrick that how he killed 6 people without getting a scratch, even though the results of the tests in the company were normal. Patrick tells them this is beginner's luck. Then the investigator shows Patrick a video about the first theft and asks him if there is a common factor between the two operations, but Patrick tells them he doesn't know. The manager of the company informs Patrick that the company's policy states that the employee must take a month's leave if any accident occurs on the mission, but Patrick refuses to take the leave. The head of the company arrives and meets Patrick and asks the company manager to treat Patrick as a hero in order to get an incentive for the rest of the employees. But the company manager thought there was something fishy about Patrick. At the same time, we see the investigators who were investigating Patrick talking to another person working in a sovereign authority and telling him that they had found Patrick, who the detectives had been chasing for 25 years, and told him that Patrick had forged his identity in order to work in a security company. But this man asks them to deal with Patrick as a security man, nothing more. Patrick's friend comes to Patrick and gives him a file that contains information about all the employees in the company he works for. On the second day, the other employees greet Patrick and applaud him for saving Bullet. Patrick then goes out on a money transfer mission with Bullet. Suddenly, there is a gang blocking the road in front of them, and the gang members start spraying black dye on the car windows. They then throw gas in the car and tell Patrick and Bullet to get out of the car. Patrick comes out quietly and stands in front of the gang members. And when Patrick removes the cloth that covers his face, and the gang members watch him, they run away as if they saw a monster. After the gang members fled, they removed the masks, and the old man Mike told a friend that he had seen Patrick. And this person was very surprised. In the company, we see the manager who was surprised at what happened and why the gang members ran away when they saw Patrick. Then Dana, who works with Patrick, invites Patrick to dinner at her house. Indeed, Patrick goes with her, and on the second day, Patrick finds a sum of money with Dana and asks her about the source of this money. Patrick fires 2 shots near Dana to threaten her. Dana tells Patrick that she stole the money from a company car because the employees left the money in the car. Patrick tells her that if he finds out that she is lying to him, he will kill her mother and father. We go back to the time 5 months before these events, and we see Patrick going out with his son, and they were getting ready to get in the car. But a call comes to Patrick from help, and his assistant was Mike, who ran away when he saw him in the robbery. Mike asks Patrick to watch one of the cars that Patrick works with now and tell them the route of this car. But at first, Patrick refuses and tells them that today is his day off and that he wants to go out with his son. But Mike tells Patrick to go because the guy who was supposed to do the job had a motorcycle accident. Patrick agrees because the task was easy, and then he goes and then leaves his son in the car and tells him that he will buy them lunch. Patrick follows the car's path and tells Mike which direction the car has gone. If you made it this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But what happened is that this car was stolen and 2 of the men in the car were killed. One of the gang members takes Patrick's son out of the car and kills him because he saw them killing the guards. Patrick repels you with what he saw and tries to save his son, but one of the gang members shoots Patrick. Patrick falls to the ground, but he was watching the person who killed his son and saved his features. This was the reason why Patrick worked for this company, in order to find the killer of his son. Then Patrick enters the hospital and manages to survive. After he got out of prison, Patrick's ex-wife comes and blames him for killing their son and tells him that he is the reason for it. Patrick meets the secret agent who works in the intelligence, and he consoles Patrick because of the death of his son, and he tells him that the members of this gang are unknown. But he gives Patrick a list of the names of the most dangerous gangs that may be involved in the death of his son. He also gives Patrick the green light if he wants to kill them. Patrick orders his men to interrogate all the gangs on the list. Patrick's men kill a large number of gangsters on the list, but fail to find the person who killed Patrick's son. Patrick asks them to intensify their efforts, and he himself goes with them and interrogates the people, and then they kill a large number of gangs. Mike tells Patrick he's worried the mobsters will come after them. Patrick agrees to what Mike said and asks them not to interrogate other gang members, and also tells him that he will travel to London to rest a bit. But in fact, Patrick did not travel and went to a friend and asked her to forge his identity and forge certificates of experience in security companies. And then Patrick goes to the company to work with them in the hope that the gang that killed his son will appear. We see the gang who killed Patrick's son, and they were former soldiers in the U.S. Army, and their leader was Sergeant Jeff. These people were bored because of the lack of money until a friend of theirs who works in a jewelry store as a security man suggested that they rob the jewelry store. Indeed, they stole, but the money they got was not enough for them. The person who killed Patrick's son, Jan, was insinuating that their captain, Sergeant Jeff, was taking a large share of the robberies. Not all gang members agree with Jan's idea. Then one of them suggests targeting money transfer companies instead. He claims to know someone working for a security company who can help them. They carry out their first robbery and realize that stealing transport vehicles is easier than they expected. Encouraged by this, they plan to go after larger amounts. Jeff tells them about a security company that will be transporting $6 million and says there is an insider who will assist them in exchange for a share of the money. The group then prepares for the operation, disguising themselves as workers. This was the same day that Patrick was watching the security car. And then Patrick's son saw the gang members stealing the car, but one of the guards resisted the gang members. So Jan killed the guard and the other guard. Then the gang members fled. And at the moment we see the gang gathered together, and they were thinking of a big robbery. Sergeant Jeff tells them that if they carry out this operation, they will not need the money for the rest of their lives. He tells them that they will rob the headquarters of the company that Patrick works for on Black Friday night, because the company will have more than $160 million in the company's headquarters. He told them that the money would be divided between them and the trader who works for the company, and the company was in a state of extreme emergency because the company manager was afraid that a robbery would happen on Black Friday. Bullet reassured the company's manager, telling him that everything will be fine. On the day of the operation, Jeff calls the traitorous employee who works for the security company, telling him that they are ready to carry out the operation. Jeff had a problem with the rebellious Jan because after visiting him at his house, Jeff saw that Jan had bought things that caught his eye. Jeff asks Jan to return these expensive items so as not to draw attention to them. The manager of the company was talking to the employees and asking them to return safely after they transferred the money. Patrick goes out with Bullet on a mission, and they were about to complete their mission when Bullet suddenly confesses to Patrick and tells him that he is the traitor who works with the gang. He tells him that he removed Patrick's ammunition and that the gang members will ride in the car with them to enter the company's headquarters. Bullet warns Patrick that if he resists, the gang members will kill him, and then Bullet will disable the cameras in the car that are associated with the company. Then Bullet allows the gangsters to get in the car and tells Patrick to keep calm. Then the gang members get out of the car and threaten the employees in the company. All employees in the company surrender, and then one of the gang members tied up Patrick and threw him on the ground. Bullet was playing the role of the hostage, but one of the monitoring staff saw the gang and pressed the alarm button. Then a firefight ensues between the gang members and the weapons distribution staff. They manage to hit one of the gang members, but then the gang members can kill them. One of the gang members dies of his injury. Then the gang members steal the money and put it in their cars, and they were trying to complete the theft before the police reached them. One of the employees was hiding with Dana, and they shoot the gang. Patrick takes advantage of the opportunity and can kill a gang member. Dave was trying to help Patrick, but the company manager stops him and asks him to hide until the police arrive. Patrick wears gang clothes and disguises himself as a gang member. Then Patrick goes and can kill one of the gang members. But the traitor Bullet goes to Dana and the other employee and tells them that he needs a weapon to defend himself. And when they gave him a gun, he killed them. Patrick managed to kill most of the gang members, but Bullet saw Patrick, so he shot him and managed to hit him. Bullet then kills Dave. After that, they flee the company while the police chase them, and Jeff is seriously injured. They reach a garage, where Jeff tells Bullet to move the money into another car prepared for an escape through the tunnels. Jeff had suspected Jan would betray them and planned to kill him, but Jan shoots Jeff first and escapes with Bullet. While driving through the tunnel, Bullet attempts to kill Jan to take the money for himself, but Jan kills Bullet instead. He escapes in another car, avoiding police tracking. Later, Jan returns home with the money and sits alone, celebrating. Suddenly, he hears a phone ringing inside one of the money bags. It is Patrick, who has managed to track him. Patrick gives Jan a file containing his son's death report and asks him to read it aloud. The report states that his son died from gunfire. Jan offers Patrick the money, but Patrick refuses and chooses revenge. Patrick shoots Jan in the same way Jan killed his son. Afterward, Patrick walks out and tells an intelligence agent that the mission is complete. It is revealed that the agent helped Patrick find his son's killer. The movie ends there.